As we've been promising, I have something very special to announce. It affects 100,000 Canadians. Parkinson's is a disease without a cure that strikes young and old, men and women, and it's touched my family in a huge way. My maternal grandfather, who helped raise me, is fighting this sickness's cruel symptoms, and with not much else to do but keep our hopes up and continue changing the way we do things as a family, I've decided to join forces with the Parkinson Society as the Central and Northern Ontario's regional spokesperson. And joining me to make it official over the airwave, Robert Prestige. Thank you so much for joining us and helping us make this official. I'm really happy to be lending my voice to such a great cause. And
thank you. We do appreciate you joining us as well.
Hopefully it's a good start to many big things to come. We've actually got some pictures of my grandfather to share with you all as well. You know, just a way to put his face on this horrible sickness. You got a couple pictures here. These are actually from my weddings. We had, you know, a traditional European church ceremony, an Indian mosque ceremony, and it's a reminder to me, Robert, that people with Parkinson's can still live an active life. But it's been tough for us too, you know. He was diagnosed just 4 years ago. He's only 75 years old, and he is in a wheelchair. He needs 24-hour nursing home care, but one of the biggest messages from yourself and from the society is about keeping up hope while we search for a cure. Can you tell us about some of the services that are out there for others like my grandfather who might be suffering?
Absolutely. Well, Parkinson's is a very interesting condition in the fact that it doesn't hit everybody the exact same way. People are so different. Some people are going to progress a little bit quicker. Some people progress much more slowly. So starting by giving them some information, that's usually where they're reaching out to us to begin with, because initially the doctor simply says, you've got Parkinson's, and hopefully they'll direct them towards us, but if not, they eventually find us. They want to know, beyond, I have Parkinson's disease, what is this? How is this going to affect us? So starting with some education to begin with as well.
The one thing we found is there's so many great support groups. You know, you get diagnosed with something like this as a family, it affects everybody. You don't realize that there are so many things that the Parkinson Society offers. So that's one of the things I'll be hoping to lend my voice to as well. Now, I've always called this disease a robber disease because it takes and takes and takes from you if you let it. But you can build up those walls of protection. You can do that by relearning things in life. I always say to my grandpa, it's like you're going back to get another degree, add another feather to the cap. You're relearning to walk now with a walker, or learning to write again with your non-dominant hand. But there are still so much stigma that people with Parkinson's face, you know, on a daily basis. They deal with the stigma around this disease, and I'm sure as a referral associate, you hear about this stigma and you get calls about this all the time.
Absolutely. With some of the conditions that, or some of the symptoms that people might have, they might have masking of their face, they can have slurring with their voice, they might be weaving and wobbling a bit. People get approached on the street because people think that they're drunk. So we have had people picked up by the police, but it's simply their actual symptoms. So even something of that. One of the most common symptoms being tremor. A lot of people feel that it calls out to them, or that people are watching if they're shaking at all. So there is a lot of stigma and a lot of people not wanting to reach out for more help.
Well, we're here to break down those barriers, but this disease does not discriminate, right? It affects all creeds, all backgrounds. And me personally, coming from an Indian family, many of our extended family members, I don't think they really knew how to act when my grandpa got diagnosed. I think that they treated him differently after his diagnosis, not knowing how to deal with the tremor, you know, or the diagnosis. And I bet, unfortunately, those issues are similar across the board, no matter your background. Can you tell us about some of those issues that people with Parkinson's face?
Absolutely, absolutely. It doesn't really matter from what background that anybody is from. There is that resistance to sometimes getting help, asking, picking up the phone, saying, look, I've been doing this for a while now, I need some help. Regardless of the fact that this could be your spouse that you're married to, for better, for worse, kind of a situation. When it's bad, people need help. So being able to pick up the phone and ask for that help is crucially important.
And since I've been doing some work with the Society, it's amazing all the positives that come from some of those negatives we just mentioned. We are breaking down those barriers, and one of the great things the Parkinson Society has been able to do is design countless events to say basically that you're not alone. Tons of great events to get people together, get families together, you know, caregivers together, to know that you're not suffering alone. There's lots of great events, a bunch of which I'm hoping to be at a part of next year, hoping that all of you can be a part of as well. Robert, will you tell us about some of the 2013 Parkinson Society events?
Certainly. We have 5 major conferences which will be happening over in the springtime that happen all the way out through our entire region of Central and Northern Ontario. We have our Super Walk campaign, which is our largest fundraiser.
It's huge.
Our Fresh Cut Tulip campaign. Yeah. In Toronto, you'll see people in the subways and whatnot flogging tulips. So please do buy them. April is Awareness Month, the Parkinson's Awareness Month. So yeah, there'll be a lot of events happening, and our cut-a-thon happens. It's an amazing event. Salons participating, volunteering their time to give great hairdos and whatnot, and spreading a little awareness as well.
Where are we on the search for a cure, Robert? You know, so many celebrities have lent their hand and their names to this disease as well. You know, Michael J. Fox, Muhammad Ali. But we are still not at the point where we have a cure right now. But for all of those watching, there is still hope. There's so much research being done around, you know, stem cells. Where are we now on that search for a cure?
What people have to keep in mind is basically when Parkinson's was first identified in the 1800s as the shaking palsy by Dr. Parkinson, who lends his name to it. There was really no treatment up to about the 60s, the late 60s, when dopamine was the first medication. There has been research happening by leaps and bounds. It might not seem that there's a cure right around the corner. There's so much hope there. There's so much promise of new developments. They're learning new areas of the brain every day. So there's a lot of promise out there.
I think so much work has to come with changing those stereotypes, changing that stigma. Like you said, people being approached on the street, people thinking that they're drunk because of their tremor. You know, you see people in workplaces now having an active life. I was having a conversation with one of our colleagues here a moment ago. His doctor just got diagnosed with Parkinson's and is still practicing, or was still until retirement, you know, with the tremor. It's becoming more acceptable, and I think coming out and talking about it, just like we are today, is making it okay, and hopefully somebody at home watching with Parkinson's that has a tremor isn't going to be as ashamed to come out and live that normal life with it. It's all about, you know, saying it's okay. Absolutely.
Absolutely. If you just pick up the phone, give us a call, let us know where you're at, let us know what you're looking for, what kind of help do you need. We can connect you. As you said earlier, we have 50 support groups all over the place. So
and in every reach of the province, really.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm talking on behalf of the Parkinson Society of Central and Northern Ontario, and there really is a group, no matter how small it may be, 2 or 3 people in every single reach of this province.
There absolutely is. We work with our regional partners, Parkinson Society Southwestern Ontario, Parkinson Society Ottawa, but right across the entire province, across the entire country with Parkinson Society Canada. There's groups out there, there's people out there who are willing to help connect with you, support you in whatever way possible.
Yeah, so bottom line, you're not alone. I can't wait for some of those events. I can't wait to really get in there and meet some of these people, hopefully bring my grandpa along. And it's all about connecting, you know? And bottom line for me is this disease is not a death sentence, and I am incredibly honored to be partnering up, lending my voice with the Parkinson Society. And Robert, thank you so much for coming in to help make it official over the airways and make this announcement live with us here on City News Channel.
And thank you. It's much appreciated.
I think it's a lot of good to come. You're watching City News Channel. Thank you all for joining us for this special announcement. We'll have more right after this break.